Good evening and welcome to Going for Two, the only YouTube podcast in human recorded history to feature a male and female host drinking our way through the important topics of the day, as long as they touch the football world, and not in that way. We're back into real football. Preseason football is like high school sex. It's highly anticipated, ends quickly, we fall asleep before the second quarter starts, and is forgotten in a moment's time. I heard there was a game last Sunday, but collective gasp, I didn't watch a minute of it. I'm sorry I missed the uncovering of Michael Pruitt and Joe Banyard.
You didn't get to see Teddy Bridgewater throw 3 passes?
I know. Yeah, the Jets continued their sad soap opera of an offseason with the Geno Smith sucker punch heard around the world. If it were a position other than quarterback, they wouldn't have added sucker because quarterbacks are supposed to control 250-pound teammates with their minds. So, Sharona, how are you doing this evening? Tell everybody what beer you got next to you.
I have it's semi-local. This is a bourbon barrel stout from Kentucky, from Bluegrass Brewing Company in Kentucky. And it's interesting. It's a little salty. I was surprised about that, but I like stout, so I'm good.
Excellent. And Sharona, we will get into your Deflategate discussion, but we have to get started here with our guest tonight. So in the 1980s, the executives at Nintendo had a new game they wanted to name, and they knew it was going to be a big hit. But they just needed a name, and unfortunately they didn't go with The Legend of Ty. Instead they went Legend of Zelda. They really needed that second syllable. Ty Miller is one of 5 human beings to have won the Scott Fish Bowl, which he did in 2013. He's a musical individual contributing the opening music for the Rubbing and Rake podcast and the DLF podcast. Check out the Oakstone Ashes. Also, his lovely bride Amanda is the vocal talent leading off the DLF podcast, and their Friday night date night live tweets are legend, and they're PG rated. So hey there, Ty, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How you doing tonight?
Hey, Ty.
I'm doing pretty well. I'm actually drinking a beer myself.
Awesome.
The Goose Island 312.
Oh.
Little. It says it's an urban wheat ale. I normally don't like wheat beers, but it's pretty smooth.
Well, you're a smooth man themselves. So Ty. Usually on the pregame shows, they address guys who used to be football coaches but no longer hold that title as coach. So using that logic, shouldn't everybody address you as Fishbowl champ when they greet you?
I think most people do, actually. I just wear that name tag around on my shirt, and it brings a lot of respect my way.
Well, I, for one, welcome our Fishbowl champion, Overlord.
I know. It's nice to see a big winner. So can you talk about that? I know it was 2013, it was ages ago, but how did you put together this championship squad? Because to just quickly describe to people who haven't heard, Scott Fish Bowl, I'm not sure how many teams were in it that year, 120 maybe, but
120, yeah.
360 teams now, but he was the overall champion. So that takes a lot of good drafting and all that stuff. So tell us about your journey to champion.
Sure. A lot of luck, I would say. I did draft Jamal Charles in the first round. That was a big one. And
is that where you got your Jamal Charles for president thing? Charles for Prez?
Started 2013. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I had to pay tribute to the dude that was helping me win all this stuff. So, I got Jamal Charles, and I don't have my roster in front of me from that year, but I know I had Antonio Brown, which back then he was slipping to like the early to middle rounds, and the late one I remember getting was Julian Edelman, so that was obviously a big help that year. But just some things broke my way. The big thing that I used that year that was kind of different than a lot of people approach the SFB, since it's a super flex league, which is essentially a 2-quarterback league. You can start 2 quarterbacks. I only started one basically all season, and that was Matt Ryan. And I just kind of loaded up on running backs and wide receivers while everybody else was chasing quarterbacks, and it just kind of paid off.
Yeah, it's so hard because you have so many people in these leagues to be different, because you can say, well, last year I grabbed Aaron Rodgers, number 2, And this year I was like, I'm going to wait. But then in the 4th round, Cam Newton's there, and I'm like, I have to take a quarterback. You know, you get that peer pressure going. And I think I took Teddy Bridgewater or something like in the 6th round. And by the time my next pick came up, like Nick Foles was going. So quarterbacks just fly off the board, and you get really scared. But hey, Nick Foles, the face of St. Louis football, right?
Right. Next 2 years at least. We'll
but
see.
you, this year, you're in the Go Fast division in the Talladega Nights Conference, and you guys finished your draft in like 4 days. And this is a 22-round draft. You guys were done before, I think we were like in the 5th round. So what was that like, an experience? Because Sharona was in the opposite experience. He was in one of the slowest drafts.
Man, I think we were still in the 1st round, and these
like
guys were kicking back, throwing back brewskis, you know.
No, it was pretty awesome because we were all kind of feeding off of each other. You know, once we got to a certain point, you could tell that everybody was just wanting to keep the pace up. You know, and just a lot of pre-drafting. I was posting tweets of overnight. You know, like you'd see like 7 or 8 teams just pre-drafted, which was crazy. But yeah, once we knocked it out, then we were kind of like twiddling our thumbs. You know, just kind of bored, and everybody else is still talking about it. We're just kind of looking at our set rosters. So it was fun, but I do kind of wish it had taken a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's the thing about these drafts. You get excited, you get the anticipation, and then around round 6, you're like, man, this is a bit of a slog. And then toward the end, I don't know, you get excited about, like, which totally out of nowhere guy, like C.J. Anderson, where was he going last year in these drafts? Like the 12th round or something? I mean, these
some
of these guys.
I'd have to look, but yeah, it was. I mean, last year I picked him up off of waivers, and I also picked up Justin Forsett off of waivers, which that's another thing is in this league you really got to pay attention, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I still didn't win, but you know.
Yeah.
Who won last year?
Ryan McKee from Pro Football Focus.
Okay.
Won. And then, I won in 2013, and then I know Mike Clay was one of the first winners, and Bob Slaughter. He was a fan, and he's been killing this thing ever since he's been into it.
Yeah,
so
Bob's legendary.
Yeah.
Do you guys, do you have some kind of champions, like secret, password or something, like a golden key or something?
No, but I do think we've reserved a spot for all the future SFBs, so that's a good thing. You'll have to take that with Scott. I don't know.
Yeah, Scott, get your act together. Well, one aspect about these early drafts is you're kind of like Neo dodging the bullets in the Matrix, because you got your 2nd round pick was Arian Foster, so now you're probably dying with each injury report, because that's one thing that's driving me crazy is, like, Arian Foster was like a 2nd round pick, and then he got hurt and he was out, and everybody's like, don't draft him, and then like 2 days later they're talking about hernia surgery and he might only miss a few weeks, and I'm seeing him going like in the 5th to 7th round, and really I have no idea. Because the question is, how many Titans games is he going to miss? Because that's where he scores his most points, I think. So we got to really make sure that happens.
He's a PPR dream against them.
He is. Yeah, I know for my fantasy teams, I hope he doesn't miss any time. But against the Titans, if he's going to miss a couple games, I hope that's those 2 games.
Well, I did the MFL 10, and the first one I drafted a lot of receivers early, and then after that I saw that everybody jumps on running backs early. So I did one where I took 4 running backs in a row, but one of those running backs is Arian Foster, so now I'm like, oh man. And those are the only running backs I took, and also have Gurley, so I'm like, man, week 1, the 2 guys I have better score. So that's just the way it goes in rock and roll.
Unpredictable.
So are you currently working for a site? I think I saw a DLF shirt on you.
Yeah, wearing my DLF shirt. But right now I'm writing for RotoViz. Haven't put out anything in about a month. I'd like to get one more out at least in August, just to stay relevant. But yeah, I'm writing for RotoViz now. It's been good. I like writing for them, and I left DLF just basically because of time. Didn't really have a lot of time to focus on some of their projects, and I didn't want to just take up space. So I backed away from there, but I left on good conditions, and I've been invited anytime I want to come back. I can, so I might as well still support the shirt, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're writer emeritus there. They give nice titles over there.
I mean, the time commitment
site.
can be difficult. It can be, because I mean, for most of us, for a lot of us, it's a love project. We love football and we love fantasy football, and we've got busy lives and other things, tugging and tearing at us. And now, I forget, Ty, do you and Amanda have children yet?
Yes, we have 2 little girls.
Yeah. See, so you're a daddy too. Wow.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That takes up a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. I think that's why I ended up like, oh, now I'm just writing for my own site. That's just easy because then I could post whenever I want. I don't have to, be like, oh, I have to write this article I got assigned to me. No, not so much. Well, I did stupidly assign myself 360 interviews, so we'll see how that goes.
Which reminds me, I need to get on that.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second. I was like, well, let me look and see what Tyra. Wait a second.
Yeah, no, I'm such a slacker.
Even some people I like regularly post with on Twitter. I'm like, come on. What do you mean out of the 500 emails you get a day, you didn't see the one I sent you with
I get like 6.
4
I'm just
throwaway
lazy.
questions? Yeah. So how did you become, because I don't know if you're like a St. Louis native, like how did you become a Titans fan?
Basically when they moved a little bit closer to your, well, I guess Sharona's state. Where do you live, Zach? I don't even know.
I'm in Atlanta. So.
You're in Atlanta.
Okay. Guys,
actually.
Excuse me, just 1 minute. Carry on. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I've grown up in St. Louis, the area, St. Louis area, my whole life. When they moved to Tennessee, it was kind of I didn't really have a team. I wasn't a Rams fan. I actually just because I live actually in Southern Illinois, just about 30 minutes east of St. Louis, and it was kind of like the Bears. I'd watch the Bears games if they were on, whatever. But I didn't really have too much of a rooting interest. And then when the Titans came a little bit closer, I was, more intrigued by that. And then of course, the Music City Miracle play happened. And I'd kind of been watching them leading up to that. And I just liked that team. I didn't just, I wasn't like a Steelers fan, born into it or anything like that. I just kind of took on to the Titans and kind of regretted it ever since.
Yeah, isn't it sad?
Oh God, Zach!
Isn't it sad to remember a team that had like a playing style and they had like this hard-nosed defense and run the ball and throw it to the tight end occasionally, and McNair basically breaking every part of his body every single game, and we've been waiting for that. They kind of had that one-year renaissance in 2008, and that was a strange outlier, and they should have been one of those teams. Like the Bucks. Wait, they won the Super Bowl? Like they should have had that. But no, we had to give it to the Steelers. Like they didn't have any Super Bowl.
That was our
guys,
year.
I had to go get my backup beer. Apologies.
Okay.
Look at that.
Gotta have backups.
Yeah, I'm prepared.
No, that 2008 was our year. Ed Reed ruined
that
it for us.
bourbon stout was just. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I think I was saying that before the show. Is beers now they're starting to put them in all these different like. I went to a brewery I really liked, and they had a beer that was in like tequila barrels, and that was just the overwhelming kind of alcohol. Just kind of kills it sometimes for me. Can I just have beer with beer in it? I tell you, I'm getting old.
And guys, I know that after bless his heart, after Steve McNair was gone, and even during the turbulent Vince Young years. And the Titans were still sort of fun back then.
Mm-hmm.
I know they've got Marcus Mariota there, and he's got, there's buzz around him. I said hype on Twitter, or I should have said buzz. But, there was still such high hopes for Vince. I wish that had worked out.
Yeah, those were fun years when Chris Johnson was really in his prime. For about 3-4 years there, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vince had the talent. He just couldn't. I don't know what he just couldn't handle the criticism, or I don't think he and Jeff Fisher they were like a shotgun marriage. It didn't quite work out.
Yeah.
I don't know why, Bud. I don't feel like football teams drew their like local players so much. I don't know why it was such a big deal that Bud had to get that Texas guy. Like Bud was just like, I gotta get a Texas guy.
Well, he won.
I know Earl Campbell was
he
like
wanted
a legend,
to. Yeah, I mean, he wanted to stick it to the Texans.
Right. I'm sorry, I forgot to bring my dad's still a season ticket holder, and he brought this year's like gift, and it's like a picture book that has like old Bud Adams on the cover. The title of it is Tears and Cheers, and I'm like, I think they have put it in the right order. Cheers first. Cheers
Definitely.
Later.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm really sorry I missed out because I think it was 2 years ago, the Titans came up to St. Louis for the Jeff Fisher rematch.
Yeah.
I was like,
is that when they wore the Super Bowl uniform?
Yeah, no, they wore the throwback
Jeff Fisher's
uniform.
such a troll, man.
Mike Jones come on the field and make a tackle.
And then he was like, well, I didn't have anything to do with that.
Right.
Personally,
I went to the game.
Those are better, although the LA Rams ones, the white and blue are nice, but the new ones, any team that has like that gold color, it just doesn't work. And it sounds like St. Louis is basically like the team's like, give us a stadium and give us a ton of money or else we're leaving, and we're leaving anyway, but we're going to pretend that I don't know. It doesn't seem like St. Louis is too excited about the Rams at the moment. I don't know.
Yeah,
they've got other issues going on.
Yeah, there's a little bit going on in St. Louis. I work with quite a few guys that are season ticket holders, and they're treating it like the farewell tour this year. But I know really the people that I talk to are kind of bummed. It's kind of one of those things like they didn't really appreciate it when it's here. And now that there's a chance it might be going away, it's kind of, everybody's trying to grasp onto that. And I mean, the stadium they offered that they proposed on the riverfront, it looks great. I love open air stadiums, but they're also talking about building it regardless because St. Louis is actually one of the most popular soccer cities in the United States.
Oh yeah.
Also. So
that's cool.
Yeah, so they would, if the Rams did stay, they'd be sharing a stadium with soccer. But the stadium looks pretty cool. If you Google it, you can see what I'm talking about.
Awesome.
I don't know if the Rams will ever play in it, but whatever.
Yeah, it was kind of like the Edward Jones Dome was kind of like the Titans stadium. It was kind of stuck in the middle. Like it wasn't one of these brand new top of the line stadiums. It seemed like it was out of date 10 years after it was built. And they had that, like the Titans, they had a nice run. They went to the Super Bowl. They probably should have won 2, and they had that really great offense and memorable team, and then it all fell apart, led by Mike Martz, drafting some guy at Arizona State who, when he got called to be told that he was drafted, he thought his friends were pranking him because he wasn't even on he was like a 4th-round pick at Arizona State, and he was like, what? Are you sure? There was some bad. I mean, Mike Martz was a pretty good offensive coordinator once he became coach.
Yeah.
It didn't go so well, but it's hard to stay on top. The Patriots,
Speaking of Jeff Fisher, though, and the Rams, of course, Jeff Fisher has, led a team through a move before, so he's certainly experienced at that. But at some point, doesn't he have to be on the hot seat there?
You would think, but I mean, people joke about it on the radio here, talking about how he could just pull what he did in the Titans. He'll be here in 12, 15 years from now. Just, the state of mediocrity. I mean, who knows if he keeps playing, if he keeps building the teams that are close but not quite there. It makes it tough to fire him.
I see that we're having the Tavin Austin is going to be awesome again.
Oh man!
How's that playing locally?
It's not. Nobody's buying it. Yeah, he's listed as one of the starters with Kenny Britt, which
Kenny Britt.
Yeah, I mean he actually did pretty well last year. I mean he seems okay. Yeah, I'm a Stedman Bailey fan, but
I am too. I love Stedman.
Stedman Bailey. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see him get a shot more as a starter than Tavon, but then Brian Quick's going to be coming back too. So. I mean, I guess they're saying that he's doing pretty well.
There's a lot of Brian Quick love in fantasy last year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then he just got injured and kind of all went out the window.
Well, he was a guy they took with that famed when they changed the draft to make day 2 that first pick in the second round. Every single year, people get really worked up about that pick, and it never. I don't think any of those guys has turned out to be anything. And Brian Quick, everybody had written him off, and then in year 3, he finally put it together, and then he broke his shoulder. And I think he's like a 12th round pick. I mean, if it wasn't for the Gurley draft pick, I mean, who would be the earliest Ram taken? Like Mason in the 7th?
Trey Mason, probably.
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
As a guy who failed to
Well,
trade
I mean, I
Zach
think it'd
Stacy,
be interesting to think if they hadn't drafted Todd Gurley, where would Trey Mason be going? I think he'd be going a lot higher.
I'd say probably where he was before everybody knew that Todd Gurley, or at least thought that Todd Gurley might avoid PUP. You know, Trey Mason was going in like the 3rd, 4th round, probably more so the 4th round. And then once that information came out about Gurley, and then you start seeing Trey Mason's stock drop a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a tough one because I'm in a keeper league, so it makes things a little different. But like in a redraft, I don't know. I think you've taken him in the 4th, haven't you, Sharona? I took him in a 4th in an MFL 10, but that's like best ball. So like if he doesn't do anything early, you get him late. But yeah, it's hard to say because Jeff Fisher just keeps grabbing those. He loves those running backs, you know. Remember Chris Henry, everybody.
Oh yeah,
the quality pick right there.
I've talked about Chris Henry so much. Listen, and he was horrible. But that was just a terrible year for running backs. You know, Green Bay took a running back right after that, and he sucked too. I mean, it was a horrible year.
Brandon Jackson, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Ty, you're a dynasty guy, but yeah, you can remember. You go back in your dynasty league. 'Cause I'm in one dynasty league. It started in 2006. And you can look at some of those first-round picks, and you just, cringe. I mean, Archie Pinner and guys like that. Guys just grab. I mean, I grabbed Zach Stacy in the first round, and I felt like a stud after year 1, and I stupidly didn't trade him. And now I'm like, oh, he's just sitting there in my roster doing nothing.
Yeah, where is he?
The Jets traded Schwartz.
Okay.
Yep.
But they said that was the stat that I shouldn't have been surprised by. But
Zach.
His top
Not
run
you, Zach,
was
the other Zach.
16
Don't stick your
yards.
nose in Gino's face.
Oh, Gino?
Yeah.
Was anybody surprised when Geno Smith got punched?
No.
Just because he's on the Jets. If he was on any other
team. Do you guys
team,
remember when Jarrell Casey punched him? I know Ty remembers that.
Oh yeah.
he punched
No, I'm thinking. When I hear these stories about how he owed some money and everything, it's just.
Really?
All I go back to is the draft. You know, that
Cool.
little pouty face when he didn't get drafted in the first round. You know, just you could tell he's just kind of like that.
Yeah, quarterbacks are just. I mean, they're maybe they're overpraised, but they have to be the guy. And you don't have to be a super fiery guy like Mariota, and I don't know if he has to be that, but you have to be that leader, and everybody has to kind of follow you. And it does seem like that's the case right now. I was wondering with Vince if people follow him. They probably did when he made all those rallies, but then all his off-the-field shenanigans.
Right.
And Geno's been kind of yanked around his whole career anyway. So, yeah, it's whoever drafted, if you got Ryan Fitzpatrick in the Scott Fish Bowl, you got to feel pretty good because now you have a quarterback you probably actually got at a good rate. Because every starting quarterback with a pulse is gone by the 11th round if you're in a super flex or 2-quarterback type league. It's those backup type guys. So yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's back, y'all.
Fitzmagic.
Fitzmagic. He went to Harvard. You know that?
I've got to tell you, I'm such a dumbass. I just now remembered that you told me that listen, you guys, Ty and I were messaging about this show, and I was like, so how long can you spend with us? And he was like, well, my girls are, school and everything. And I forgot. Of course you've got little girls. I remember now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's all right. It's okay. Yeah. Yeah, the oldest one's 6. She just started first grade today.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, man, yeah, you're at the beginning of the school year, right?
Now, do they look more like you or Amanda?
My oldest looks more like my mom, actually. I guess she takes more on my side, but my little one is like a dead ringer of Amanda.
Okay.
Yeah, every once in a while we'll post pictures on Twitter.
Wow.
And Amanda's
Amanda's the best. I
Oh, yeah.
mean, she is.
Thanks.
I adore her.
Yeah. Yeah, she's awesome.
She is.
Yeah, it's cool to get the rare picture because usually you don't see both sides, but to see, yeah, both of you on Twitter and interacting, it's good stuff.
It is. It's awesome. It gives me hope.
There's always hope.
There's always hope.
So do you have to head out at the 30-minute mark? Is that what your schedule?
We can chat a little bit here. I just wanted to make sure I was able to get up and put them in bed, actually.
Oh, sure. Well, you just let us know. So talk to us about the music side, because you're a man of many hobbies, and being like the podcast, guy.
Yeah, the podcast intro. Yeah, we're the official podcast band of Twitter. No, Oakstone Ashes. I started with my best friend back in 2007, and it was just kind of just playing around type thing, because we'd always been in metal bands, actually all through high school, and wanted to try a little bit different things, so started playing more acoustic music. And so we wrote a bunch of songs, and finally decided let's actually get these recorded and make this a true band. So we brought in Joe Cook, which is our vocalist, and we released one single, which that was before we had Joe. That's me singing on it. It's called Behind These Bars. But now it's kind of just finding time, basically. Like, we'll play, and then we have a few songs recorded, but they're not fine-tuned and ready to go. So we have them kind of loaded up, and they're right there. It's been a little bit of a wait, but in the meantime, we wanted to kind of keep our name, or at least get the name out there a little bit, spread it, and so we decided to show a little bit of variety and do the podcast intros. And if you listen to the DLF one, it's kind of like a funky electric, riff, and then like Sharona said, Amanda's doing the voiceover, and then we actually did the Rummy and Ray pod, and that was metal.
Oh, awesome.
And then the third one we've just finished up 2 weeks ago, was for the FF Game Theory podcast, which is with Graham Barfield and Jake Rickroad. So
Zach,
check all those out.
I see an opportunity to get with Ty and get some music.
Do it. We'll help you out.
Looks like
I'm trying to figure out what kind of music Zach and I would fit.
Would fit us?
Well, what y'all listen to?
Screaming metal, y'all.
Y'all?
I was listening to some Pearl Jam before this Vitology, and getting back there, and of course finding all your intros to the podcast. I'm pretty sure he does the DLF. I haven't listened to that for a while. But yeah.
I was listening to disco earlier today. I listened to all kinds of music.
Oh yeah.
Me too. I honestly do love disco. I love disco, but funk is actually my favorite. Give me a good funk, I'm good.
You're one of the few people who has like a really cool background, for usually it's somebody's like bookcase or like a window or like a really bright light right behind
It's them. Amanda's photography stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Amanda's. Yeah, she had this on a side of a building a little while ago. We took it down, and now it's in her office, which is where I'm at. Mama's office.
So which offense has less fantasy hope? Is it the Rams or the Titans? Share.
Man,
Or the 49ers.
49ers. I would. It depends on Mariota, I guess. I would say that the Rams have a better offense, potentially, just because we have a ton of young guys that, if they show up and they start maturing and start clicking, then I think we have more upside. But I think the Rams will have a better offense this year, unfortunately.
So if Jeff Fisher stays the head coach in like 3 years, they're going to sign Delaney Walker to like a $50 million extension.
Obviously.
Like every ex-Titan. It's like their retirement job. There are so many ex-Titans, and really Kenny Britt was one of the better ones.
Yeah.
I mean, Jared Cook has done exactly what he did for the Titans in St. Louis. Yeah. Like he had a couple of 2-touchdown games because the Cardinals don't cover the tight end, but other than that, for such an athletic, tall guy, he never gets targeted in the end zone. He always gets his 4 touchdowns a year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But he's still alive, and he always plays every week. So you got that Lance Kendricks guy. I think I actually picked him up in a desperation in Scott Fishbowl last year because he scored a touchdown a couple times.
Yeah, that's desperation.
Don't follow me in draft.
I mean, if the Rams could get some stability, I think the tight end position. I mean, we have seen traditionally that Jeff Fisher and his offenses like to take advantage of that position. It makes sense in theory. It's just, their quarterback. I mean, hey, at least it's not Sam Bradford anymore, right? That whipping guy is gone.
He had to get out of town. I think he was actually thinking about retiring. But it's weird when you're in that quarterback purgatory because they picked up Nick Foles and they signed him to an extension, and it's like $12 million a year, which seems like an insane number, but it's like, well, for a starting quarterback, with the pulse, that's pretty good. But it's not like he's getting all that.
We're in the wrong. Hey, listen, we're in the wrong business, guys. What are we doing? We should be out there auditioning for the Rams quarterback job.
Right, backup jobs.
So sad because of my
Charlie Whitehurst. I mean, I can carry a clipboard.
Charlie Whitehurst is the oldest Titan. It's not hard to believe. It's not a punter or a kicker.
Here's a question for you, Ty, and then for Zach. It's something that I've been pondering. What are the expectations for the Titans this year? How many games should they win? What are fan expectations? And legitimately, practically, what should they win?
Without going down their schedule, I mean, I would put it in the ballpark of like between 4 and 6. I think 5 wins is probably realistic. I know I saw Jim Wyatt talking about that on Periscope. I don't know if you guys follow him on Periscope, but he does, like, after OTAs and after training camp, he's going through some of these, just basically like a rundown of what he saw that day. And somebody was asking him how many games he thought that they would win. And he said 5, and I do think that's kind of realistic. I think we're going to steal some, and I think we're going to blow some.
So a typical year. Well, I mean, last year they didn't even steal any. They scraped by 2.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird. Like, my number, of course, would be the goose egg. But the last 2 years, the Titans have pulled off upsets against, like, playoff teams. Like, remember 2 years ago, they beat the Steelers when they took a knee for a safety to open the game.
Yep.
And they basically handed the ball to Jackie Battle all day, and they beat the Steelers. And last year, they beat the Chiefs, who are a playoff team, in Kansas City, and they looked really good, and it was a big running game, and then they never did that the rest of the year.
Nope. One good game.
So maybe against the Bucks, although I've been telling everybody who does team defense to just grab the Bucks defense for Week 1 against Titans. Who knows? I mean, it's kind of an intriguing. Like, I have to get to a sports bar because it certainly won't be on local TV, but to see the Jameis versus Mariota, although Mariota sounds more Southern to me, but Mariota, we'll go with the actual pronunciation. At least I don't know. The quarterback makes it interesting because the defense, I still don't think. With the new co-coordinator thing, which they tried a few years ago and didn't work. I don't know what that's all about. They didn't really add a lot of talent except for Arakpo, who's been hurt a lot. So I don't know but they were so pathetic last year that it's like they can't be an NFL team and be this bad and dysfunctional and uncompetitive every week. They just can't. But maybe they can.
Here we are.
I mean, the Jaguars are terrible, and the Texans, they lost Foster, the only great. I mean, they have a couple other good players, but they don't have a quarterback. So it's like, well,
I just have to say this is a good time. This is a good time to quiz Ty. I'm so sorry, I keep wanting to call you Zach. To quiz Ty a little bit on
the facial hair is not comparative.
Right. It's not. There's not. No, Zach, you can't even grow a beard. I mean, you grow little tufts of hair that stick out of your face.
I had one last year, and you put me in my place.
So, Hard Knocks. Ty's a fan. I love that.
Yeah, I really enjoy that show, and now that it's a division rival, I'm paying a little bit more closer attention to it.
It sounds like last night's episode was pretty good.
Yeah, did you not watch it?
I did not watch it. I saw some clips, and what led me to that was Zach saying Arian Foster was their only. I was impressed with what I saw from Nuke. Nuke looks like he's bulked up just a little bit more solid, a little bit. I'm excited about him.
Which makes me sad because they've drafted like 2 good receivers ever, Andre Johnson and then him. Yeah. Because they've drafted receivers about as well as Jeff Fisher does, man. Jalen Strong.
Maybe 3. I mean, I'm going to throw some dap to Jalen Strong.
I tell you, there's a player Nate Washington's the guy to watch.
Well, that's what I was getting ready to say. And Zach's favorite wide receiver, Nate's looking good. Nate the Great.
Sadly, Nate is by far the best free agent wide receiver the Titans have ever picked up because they all have sucked, and then Nate Washington was actually good.
Yeah.
Made some plays. Never great, but he was always a leader. Every year they were trying to cut him, and then, no, actually, everybody else sucks. Okay.
Right.
And it's probably the same with the Texans, like, we'll just sign him for kicks, and, he's actually good.
Yeah. Yeah, he's showing up. They're saying he could start opposite of Nuke. So.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he's going to be the other outside guy. I mean, you wouldn't expect Jalen Strong to automatically be that guy. Speaking of Texans, blah, 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 is Bernard Pollard going to get an opportunity?
I don't know. He's your guy, right?
I like Pollard.
Yeah.
I mean, what's not to like? And I had forgotten I was looking at Kissing Susie Colbert, a funny sports-related website that I like, and they had a thing about Hard Knocks and some of the best moments, and I had forgotten that the Pollard dance came from Hard Knocks. Do you remember that when he was with the Kansas City Chiefs and doing he was twerking before twerking was cool, baby.
You might have to show it off,
He did the splits. I was like, he did the splits.
That's impressive.
I mean.
Well, usually they grab on to a couple of those guys who are like borderline players, and those are the stories that are intriguing because those guys have to work really hard, and just the shot at making the team and that like dream coming true is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it's really cool to follow.
And I have HBO Go, so yeah, I gotta catch up and hear about O'Brien cursing a lot.
Yeah, I heard some of the F-bombs were forced. You guys, let me let this spoiled mixed little dog in.
The pup?
Yes.
Yeah. So Ty, did you enjoy? Did you feel good about how things went in your King of the Hill draft? That was a similar setup to the.
It was a similar setup. It was best ball. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I don't know, I forget some of the guys that got late. I know my last pick, I almost took Chris Johnson because I took him in SFB as my last pick just in case, because in that league you can't run waivers until after week 1. So I figured if he signed, but I ended up taking Nate Washington with my last pick in the King of the Hill. So
yeah, we're in the same. We're in the same division. So the King of the Hill is basically the Scott Fish Bowl, but there are 4 divisions of 12 teams, and it's best ball, which I like. I think everybody wants best ball this year because they want to play daily and they don't want to do waivers and stuff. So it's like, all right, we're gonna do Scott Fish Bowl style, but tight ends are 1.5 per reception and no waivers in best ball, and 20 rounds instead of 22. But it's pretty much the same thing. And what a surprise! Who'd you get in the first round of that draft?
Well, I started actually with my 2 favorite picks to start the draft this year: Jamal Charles, and shocker, and Jordy Nelson in the second round. Yeah.
Yeah, Jordy's kind of forgotten. I mean,
I drafted Jordy too.
Well, because you're smart.
Yeah.
You're smart.
And I realize I have a lot of Mike Evans.
I have a lot of Packers on my team.
I've
got Jordy. I've got Aaron.
Yeah, Jordy. Aaron, the first name basis, aren't you?
Yeah. I took his name's escaping me, the second year guy.
Oh, Devontae Adams, yeah.
Yes, because we get special team points too, and he's going to tear it up he's going to be a special teams demon, and he's going to also see offense, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, he's a good best ball player.
I got to keep an eye on you because you took Colin Kaepernick and Carson Palmer back to back, and Kaepernick he really, like, I had him in a 2-quarterback league last year, and he wasn't really startable in the 2-quarterback league.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to do better this year. And plus, he's got that.
I think so too.
Fantasy Douche posted like the link of him running a 90-yard touchdown. You're like, wow. And then you look at his stats. That's the only touchdown he scored all year. What? Come on, you crazy? That guy?
Yeah.
He should be
Well,
Cam Newton on the goal line. But,
well, in that league, you get 0.25 points per rush. So like the reason I kind of went running back heavy again is I wanted to get some bell cow guys that are going to get rack up those little points, and then you get Kaepernick who's going to get rushing attempts also. So that was kind of my whole strategy there. But I do kind of wish I had ended up with 3 quarterbacks, but they went quick.
They really were going fast. I was watching the whole. I had the spreadsheet up showing all the picks and stuff. 'Cause it was just fascinating to me, and I was like, holy crap, look at all these quarterbacks. So I was like looking at our rosters and stuff. It was really fun. I enjoyed being in it this year. I did.
Oh, yeah. Well, Scott runs great leagues.
Yeah, and he's just so awesome.
Yeah.
Just an awesome guy.
I told Scott he needs an intern. I think he's telling me I need an intern. He switched 2 guys' divisions and didn't tell me, and I'm like, oh, I told this guy he was in this division. He's in this. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, being in a different kind of division or different kind of league, it definitely changes. Because in this King of the Hill league that Ty and I were in, which is basically the same rules as Scott Fish Bowl, I got Teddy Bridgewater in the 6th and Joe Flacco in the 7th. And I was like kind of happy to get those 2 guys.
Right.
And I grabbed the 2 flyers. Sadly, I didn't get Fitzmagic. I got Mark Sanchez. I still feel like he's going to start some games. And I got Tyrod Taylor in the last round. When you draft the 3rd-string quarterback for the Bills, you know you're a fantasy. Things are bleak.
Well, I think Fitzpatrick actually went ahead of Geno in this draft. I'd have to look at it, but I thought I remember seeing that, and I was kind of surprised.
I would have taken him before Geno. I mean, just as a practical matter, I don't know, what their ADPs were. I always felt like that Fitzmagic was going to win that job anyway, or at least, at some point. I think that he was a safer bet to start the season, which is when you'd want to take that gamble, and maybe toward the end of the season, that's when you might start to see more Geno because it's his 3rd year, as I recall, right?
Yep.
And I can't remember. I know EJ Manuel has that option year. I can't remember if Geno does. Probably, and so they were going to have to play. I mean, if he was healthy, and gosh, now who knows, right? But you were going to see him at some point.
It's amazing how bad that 2013 draft was because you have Geno Smith and E.J. Manuel, and the top 2 draft picks were left tackles, and they both look like they aren't very good.
Right.
So I'm trying to even remember who were the big guys out of that draft. Like if you had a high draft pick, the rookie draft, that was a tough one, but 2013 was a very good year because, you were champion. I like this. Everybody's drinking. It's a beautiful show.
It's been a great show. Ty, we're 45 minutes in. Do we need to let you go so you can put the little babies, the sweet little precious, to bed?
Yeah, I'll wrap it up. If you guys got any last things for me, I'll answer them.
Give us some of your sleepers. What guys are you liking that maybe some of our watchers, our viewers don't know about?
Sure. Guys that are relatively very cheap. I wrote an article for RotoViz called 3 Wide Receivers to Stash, and I listed 2 of these guys that I think would be good for redraft also, and that's Michael Crabtree, which kind of makes people cringe sometimes, but he's having a good camp, and I think he's going to get a good shot with Derek Carr there. Almost said David Carr. And then Chris Matthews in Seattle. That's my big sleeper for the year. I think he's, even Pete Carroll right after the draft, he was telling, I don't even know who he told, but the media that Chris was going to be the big guy in the offense opposite, if once they had Jimmy Graham there, he's going to be the big guy with Jimmy Graham. So I think he could be a red zone target. I mean, Chris Matthews is not going to get any yards after a catch. He just doesn't. But a lot of people don't realize it, but he was the CFL Rookie of the Year his first year in the CFL. So it was,
there's a lot of buzz around Tyler Lockett. His ADP is actually kind of pricey right now.
Yeah, I think that's just the rookie, optimism. you look at Doug Baldwin's still there, Jermaine Kearse is still there, Jimmy Graham. I think Chris Matthews is there. It's going to be difficult for Tyler Lockett to have too much of an impact this year. I think he'll be more of a special teams player, but he's definitely a guy that I have stashed on a couple of dynasty rosters.
Okay, awesome.
I took him the 16th round.
Yeah, might as well there.
Well,
I took him too. I'm buying the Kool-Aid. I'm drinking
points, he's probably the punt return, kick returner. But it's one of those jokes, when you have an opportunity to get a guy on the pass offense with the lowest pass volume in the league, you have to jump on him.
Exactly.
But I think it's going to go up. Like, I don't think Tom Brady threw a ton of passes early in his career. I think they're going to let Wilson throw the ball more. Yeah. And when Lynch is gone, who knows what their running game's going to look like. So, yeah.
I still got a lot of love for Christian Michael.
Yeah, you're a truther, huh?
I am. I mean, I want to see him traded to Houston, but
he needs to go somewhere else. That's
it
all. It
makes too much sense to happen.
Yeah. Everybody wants him to go to Dallas too. So
it's not like a fantasy league, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah.
Well, Ty, where can people find you? I mean, go to the Twitters and to the Rotovizes.
You can find me on Twitter at Ty_N_STL. You can find my work on Rotoviz. You can search me on the authors page and click my name, and they'll show you the 3 articles I've written there for them. You can find my past work on DLF, and I'm usually really active on Twitter, so you can get at me there. You can follow my band at Oakstone Ashes, and from there you can go to our website if you want to check out. We have the single for free. It's up on SoundCloud on the front page, so you can check it out.
Awesome. That's a great follow. You should give him a follow, guys.
Thank you.
Darn right. Overcome this time. So thanks for coming on, Ty.
All right. Thanks a lot. Take it easy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See, it's probably good that Ty's gone, so I can admit something.
What is that?
You've written these epic articles about Deflategate.
I know.
And I have to admit, for better or worse, I tried. I really tried, but I just couldn't get in. I can't do it.
You couldn't read my articles?
Either you can bash me for not reading your articles, or you can just summarize and say, because you said you're on the NFL side, so I want to hear your case.
On the NFL side, I mean, I understand how this went down, and I understand why Ted Wells is like, fuck me, I've got to do this. I just think that I know people. First of all, let me just say this: Dragon's Milk is awesome, and I should have just started with it to begin with. Let me get that out of the way.
Good beer. Good beer is important.
I'm not defending the NFL. I just think that, I mean, holy cow, the contents of those text messages, I would have done, with some small exceptions. If it had been me, I would have done exactly what Ted Wells did. And I don't know Ted Wells, and I don't feel sorry for him because he's getting paid a whole lot of money, to do all of this.
Billable hours are involved.
But I was looking, I went through it, and I'm like, it is what it is. And I'll just be curious to see what happens. I think that it is entirely possible that you can construct this in a way that makes sense with the text messages and everything that happened, and still think that Brady wasn't thinking cheating. He was thinking ball preparation. I mean, I think that air was released. I do. And I think that it was a plan, and I think that these 3 guys knew what was going on. I think that. I don't think that Tom Brady was thinking, I'm trying to cheat the game. I think that he was thinking, this is the most comfortable to me because I've got this fucked up thumb. That's what I think. What this judge is going to do about it, I don't know. I mean, it's hard because there are good reasons why the NFL has this rule. I mean, there are good reasons why the NFL doesn't want Joe Schmo out here thinking that they will allow cheating, which is what this case is about. It's about cheating, the appearance of cheating. But there's just so much evidence that it didn't matter. So, but I mean, that's not the standard. The standard's not, does it matter? The standard is, is there evidence here to conclude that you tampered? And I think that there is.
Yeah, there's so many layers to this whole story, and it's like, yeah, at this point we're like, it seems like the judge is basically saying, all right, Goodell and Brady, you two figure it out.
He wants them to settle.
I'm giving you a deadline. You two figure it out. It will be better for both of you if you do, and if you don't, I'm going to make a decision.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's going to lead to Brady holding out. I mean, a lot of people still think Brady's going to not be suspended, so you can pick him up relatively cheap in fantasy leagues.
Well, yeah, I mean, people don't know, so it's
uncertainty.
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. Yeah.
It's the nicest thing you ever said about me. Thank you.
Whatever.
That's pretty reasonable.
I'm nice to
but
you
because
all the
of the Patriots and the last 15 years and how annoying their fans are, people want them to be punished. And we also, like, if somebody's too successful, like the Yankees were for a while, you just hated them, like Duke basketball, and it's the same with the Patriots.
Listen, I say this with love. I'm not knocking anybody, but I'm sure I'm annoying as hell. Look, I am well aware of my limitations, but the Boston media is annoying.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I wrote that. God help me.
Good luck.
I spent hours on that stuff because I was curious. I didn't go into it thinking, oh wow, I'm going to defend the NFL here, because I've been critical, right? I mean, Roger Goodell fucks up all the time.
Yes.
And I started looking at it, and I'm like, and let me say this, and this is the weird thing. I really hadn't paid a whole lot of attention to anything. I mean, I'd sort of kept up with it and whatever. So I'm going through it and I'm thinking, well, as I'm going through the transcript and whatever, I'm thinking, well, and they're asking questions and I'm thinking, well, this and this and this and this. And then 50 pages later, that's what Ted Wells or some expert is saying. And I'm like, not just me. I mean, I think that there was a scheme here. I do. And I don't care. I don't think that it made a bit of difference in that game. But I think that you can't let people tamper with balls. I don't think you can.
Well, don't watch baseball because they tamper with them balls. Wrong thing. Wrong balls.
I know they do. And, they get suspended.
Well, I mean, kickers are very particular about the ball, and they don't get to access them, and quarterbacks have to be. And they lots of guys play that game. So when Missouri plays Tennessee, we need to get together and watch the game and drink Dragon's Milk. That's what I think will be the ultimate.
I'm telling you guys, Dragon's Milk makes me tipsy.
I think it's pretty high gravity stuff.
I mean, it does. I'm cut off now. I'm completely cut off. I can't have it. I'm not going to finish this other beer.
I mean, this stuff's like 9%, so this is strong. This is my Boulder Shake. It's a chocolate beer, but it's low gravity, so it'll smooth. Because I had one time I went to a friend's house, and I had 2 bombers, and the first one was like 6%, and the second one was 11%, and that just, you got to start with a high and go down. Because if you got the high gravity at the end, you're like, oh, yeah, I'm having fun no matter what's happening. And by the way, Sharona E., your pick is up in the NFL 10 of Brady. And I named it that for you. NFL 10 of Brady.
Thank you. That's been, my schedule it's much better now. Now, I can safely say I tweeted this out earlier. Today was such a great day because I recently moved, and there are two things that I have been searching desperately for, just desperately for, and I found both of them in the same box, and I'm just so happy.
Intriguing. No hints?
um, One is an item that's not mine that I needed to return, and I just was feeling awful that I couldn't find it to return it. I've been offering to replace it, but I knew that I had it, and this person was so gracious and patient and let me find it, and so shout out to Ralph.
Shout out. Yeah, so basically what I did in this past week, because I hadn't been drafting much, is I started 2 MFL 10s in like a 2-day period. And really I should just be joining the public leagues, because when I invite people to join, I'm getting like the creme de la creme. You know, I got Jen in both of these. I got Mark Bogosian's in one of them. I got basically, there was a guy who was on RotoViz Radio who's in like 200 MFL 10s, and he joined one of these. I'm like, really? You got Coach Esser in here. I got Nathan Powell. I mean, this is like an all-star league. This one.
Am I in it, though?
The one we're doing, yeah, the Brady one. The first one you didn't get in, so that's why I did too. And it was,
well,
let me tell you, people, the things you do for friendship.
Now listen, go
a lot of steps to get Sharona in this league.
Go ahead and tell everybody how I suck at technology.
The key is the goal. Like, the end is the important thing. And the fact that you got in is important. And MFL 10s are a bit of a pain. Like me going into any MFL 10 league, like usually you have a, you know, on your web browser, it shows you all your sites, all your leagues you're in. But MFL 10s are like a different login, and it's like you have to click on 3 pages
it's
to get
so
there.
Crazy. It's so
every
crazy.
person who doesn't play in a bunch, which is only about half of these leagues, I had to explain, like, go to this page and then scroll down and click this and type in this password and then say a prayer to the, something, you know, it's just like
to the football gods.
I mean, it's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it worked. Now you're in, and I'm sorry Martavis Bryant is off the board, and I don't. Let's see, we're in the 5th round. Yeah, no Titans have been taken.
Oh, here, I'll let you pick, Zach. Hold on.
Ooh. I took Allen Robinson. And the funny thing is, Joseph Randall went after me, and I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't have taken him. I already took 3 running backs. I need a 4th.
Hold on, I'm going to let Zach pick. Bear with me.
Really?
Oh, shoot.
Maybe not.
I'm not signed in here.
I said myself about 2 a day of those log in yourself things. You love Melvin Gordon and you love Aaron Rodgers. You want to have 1,000 of his babies.
I do. I love both of them. Well, I was going to pick. I was so set to take Eddie Lacy. Go, Pat, go.
Yeah, really.
And he went, the dude in front of me sniped me. And so I didn't. Okay, so
first receiver, which, you know, is nice because you get your choice of guys.
I'm thinking Sammy.
Yeah, Sammy's been getting a lot of hate, but we're in the 6th, we're in the 5th round. Yeah.
5th round.
Go Bills. Plus it's best ball, so the advantage of best ball is you don't have to actually start these guys.
All right.
Because I
do need another. See, you made me jump the gun. I need another running back.
Ever since my first MFL 10, I've been going running back crazy. So I took Jamal Charles, of course. Of course, Ty is not in this league, so he didn't get to take him. Frank Gore, and I took Jonathan Stewart, and of course Mike Evans, my boo. I have him in 4 leagues now. And Mike Evans, everywhere. He's going to score 6 touchdowns against the Titans. I've already predicted that. 6 touchdowns, week 1. It's going to be glorious. It's going to blow up the internet.
Break the internet!
So you making a pick, or what's happening?
I made a pick. I picked Sammy.
I really wanted Travis Kelce, but he was taken. He was stolen from me. I took Jonathan Stewart. Ugh. Running backs, man. Well, we've done it.
So, Zach, I didn't
Yes.
get to hear your prediction. Ty said 5, 6 games. How many games should the Titans win?
I'm hoping for the big goose egg. I'm hoping they match the Lions and they get Mariota a real coach. I'm kind of hoping Gus Malzahn from Auburn, because that would be interesting to see how he does in the NFL.
Yeah.
Because he runs that crazy, super fast spread type offense.
Oh, you mean the kind of offense that Marcus Mariota would be so awesome in?
Yes, because he's a system quarterback. Like, if your system has your guy throw 110 touchdowns and 14 interceptions in 3 years,
I like that system.
give me that damn system. And, Oregon, you look at their guys in the last 10 years, how many skill guys have even made an NFL roster? Like, not a lot. So, and not even a lot of their quarterbacks, like Mariota, yeah. And a couple guys who were on a team for a while, but hey. I will be there Friday night. I don't know if my dad's going to show up. It might be perfect because my poor dad's taking care of my nephews, and I'm like, your reward for a tough week is going to watch the Titans in a preseason game. The Falcons.
Now, Zach, I want to read that book.
And
I do.
Which book?
The Bud book.
Oh, well, I'll share. I mean, my dad's like, yeah, I went to this Titans event, and they had a bunch. You could have taken like 10 if you wanted to. I was like, okay. Tears and cheers. But Chris Wessling.
At least it
NFL,
wasn't jeers. Tears and jeers.
If you read Chris Wessling, who I interviewed back when he was a fantasy guy, and now he's the NFL Network, he wrote a nice article about the Love You Blue Oilers, late 70s, and how Bud Adams stupidly fired Bum Phillips, after 3 straight playoff losses. Man, I would have liked to have been on a team with 3 straight playoff losses.
Listen, the Tennessee Titans would not be the Tennessee Titans if he hadn't done that. He got ran out of Houston because of that.
Yeah, they kind of fell apart after that. So, anyway, we are at about the hour point. So, Sharona, tell everybody, where can they find you? Doing some things. And
you can find me on the Twitters. What? I'm sorry.
Tweeters.
On the Twitters at Sports by Sharona. You can check out my podcast, Back Talk with Sharona, on my website, which is Back Talk with Sharona, but we've got different stuff going on there. So there's a sports website, and that's Sports by Sharona. That's where you can find my Tom Brady. If you're at all interested in having a good night's sleep and you want to find some material to help you, sleep at night, check out my article.
That's the hard sell right there. I'm telling you. And I'm pretty easy to find. Zach_Law on Twitter, and I am trying desperately. I just sent my second round of interview requests, including people like Ty, who I thought was my friend, and hasn't sent his answers yet to the questions. I'm going to try to get all 360 people, although when people start sending a bunch of responses, I'm like, oh, no, I have to post these. But we're going to get as many as we can and doing a couple MFL 10s. One is called hashtag MFL 10 of Win, and one is hashtag MFL 10 of Brady, which I named in honor of Sharona. We'll see if I do more because my live keeper draft is next Saturday, so I'm probably just going to be on full mode preparation. By the way, my dad's in the league with me, and he's like, I haven't even looked at anything yet, and I've done 57 mock drafts a day. So he has a 50-50 shot of doing better than me. But that's the way it goes.
Who has a 50-50 shot of passing out at this one?
Well, last year I didn't pass out. I just got a little overboozed. I passed out when I got home. I woke up on my couch and we were watching like a Titans preseason game. My dad's like drinking a glass of wine. I'm like, hey, you woke up. It was like 8 o'clock.
Welcome to life.
The downside is because I won, I have a pick at the turn. So all that time between picks, that's not good. That's going to be rough.
No, but I love picking at the turn.
It's 2 in a row, then you get a nice big break with people wanting to give you shots.
I love it.
Like,
Give me.
Gimme.
Yeah.
Well,
Love
I'm
it.
intrigued to see. I've picked 8th pick and the 12th pick to see, what actual players are left after 36 keepers, and they're very running back friendly. But anyway, that's all we got for tonight. So thank you, Sharona. Thanks, Ty, for being on the show.
Thanks, Ty.
Thanks, Sigmund Boone, for being on last week, of course. What a guy. What a man. What a very fine man.
It's a great community.
And we just want to say good night and kiss my grits. Go, Mariota.
Mario.
Red flags. No red